Hello, hi and welcome. Nothing's happening in the chat, don't worry about it. No! No! But yes, before I start chatting and we all do that, I'm going to say what page we're starting on. It is page 288, kind of in the beginning of chapter 28, Return to Childhood. So, yeah. Yeah. You can do with that information what you will. Just gotta reline that. You got this, Shilin. You got this. Chat is a figment of the imagination. Exactly. It's not even here. You don't even. It's not here. So, how you doing? Let's chat a little bit. How you doing? How's your day going? I made soup. You know how I said I was gonna make soup yesterday? I made soup today. I was gonna make soup today when I said that I was gonna make soup yesterday. I said I was gonna make soup today yesterday, and I did it. Not here to whoa. Burger. Yes, I love burgers. I actually really do. I really do. Soup monster. Yeah, for real. It's a little, I think I could make it a little bit more flavorful. Honestly though, if I didn't use frozen beef, it would have been much better, but it's okay. It's good for my first time. I made seaweed soup. Myoku. Because it's good to freeze and reheat. It's great. It's awesome. You want some soup? You should get some soup. Soup is so good. I freaking love soup. I freaking love it. It's so good. I also have pickles that I made a while ago, like pickled soy sauce, pickled onions and jalapenos, barely any jalapenos though, in like a soy sauce brine. It's so good together. These are I'm just better. You know that guy that does those TikToks where they're like me making soup, thinking I'm better than everyone. That's what I'm like when I make food. What confuses your brain? I used the last of my Great Lakes Nation wild rice to make some chicken rice soup. Why? Great Lakes Nation wild rice. What is that? Why'd you capitalize that? That sounds so good though. I love me a good soup. Better than all of you as you sip your soup. Yes, exactly. That's how it is. I'm better than everyone. It's awesome. Oh man, I love soup. I feel like a god when I'm making fried rice. Whoa. I couldn't make fried rice today. My hand's hurting again. Or maybe it just never healed properly. That's what's happening. So it's in a brace today. I'm taking it easy. I'm not gonna do anything, but it's still hurting. It felt like numb and super cold this morning when I woke up. So I'm not gonna do anything with it. They're a native tribe coalition that sells stuff. Whoa! Awesome. Hell yeah. Monument among other things. Of course hey, I didn't even do anything except record vocals and shit. And what did I do the other day? Oh, it was on together. Okay, that one did kind of hurt my hand a lot because of the fishing. Oh. But yeah, I was thinking about pulling up On Together for this stream, for these streams, but my Wi-Fi was being weird, so I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna risk it. So, yeah. Shut up. Okay. I think my tea is cool enough to sip. I did burn my tongue a little bit earlier. I'm too eager for soup. And I said, hey, yeah. I'm trying to do vocal workouts every morning now, starting today. Let's see if it helps with reading. I think Aries is using his hand for other things. No! Just cooking. I also need to do my dishes later. Ah! It's gonna hurt so much. But anyway, until then. Yeah, vocal warm-ups are kind of fun though. Although I tried the Cheryl Porter ones and they're just so confusing. Like, what is happening here? I don't understand these, so I went with a different one. Supposed to be true. Okay, let's read. Let's read. I'm gonna pull up my book now. Let's read, guys. Let's read. As I said earlier, we're on page 288 on chapter 28. Yippee! Yippee! Bingo's a baby. Bingo's a baby. Shen Qingqiu's preferences being what they were, the first haven he thought of was naturally Sangcheng Mountain, but Luo Bingke would rather have died than go back there. That was about right. As of now, with Luo Bingke's martial aspect damage, he'd definitely get hounded up by onlookers if they went, and Lu Qingge would definitely be within that crowd. So, Shen Qingqiu compromised to just brought him to the human realm. Guys, I can't remember why I cancelled this stream last week. Can't remember it. Anyway. As they say, the greatest form of solitude is solitude within a city. Thus, they settled in an especially prosperous town. While Luo Bingke was repairing his martial aspect, they would take up residence there to pass the time. Shen Qingqiu soon got so bored that his bones began to itch, so he casually took up work at the largest academy in the city. Naturally, Luo Bingke was unhappy with this. First of all, he disliked it when Shen Qingqiu took other disciples. Wasn't that throng of disciples on Qingjing Peak enough for him? And now he was taking more? Second of all, he disliked it even more when people assumed he was Shen Qingqiu's son, especially because every time they got into bed at night, he was kissed and hugged, yet he couldn't do anything at all. He even had to listen to Shen Qingqiu teasingly call him good boy and my little darling. More and more he came to hate his own lack of ability. My man's disabled. He knows what it's like to be disabled now. Why was I tired? Did I get high the day before? Was that why? Oh man. Oh, it was because I was bad body, right? Right? Oh, wait, now I remember. Wait, now I remember. We're not gonna speak about it. When Shen Qingqiu returned from the academy one day, he saw that Luo Bingke had brought a stool to the doorway and was sitting there waiting for him, an aloof and unfathomable expression on his face. If you swapped him with the adult version, this sight would naturally have made one shrink back in fear, trembling in their boots. But what about when he was the wrong size? All he did was make it irresistible to reach out with a pair of fingers to pinch his wee face. Wee! No matter the depths of refusal he summoned in to his face, even the little chirping sparrows surrounding him couldn't stop building dirt castles all around his stool, one after another, as they occasionally tried to cajole him to join their games. Said sparrows, with the neighboring families as kids. Since the first day Luo Bingke and Shen Qingqiu moved in, the children had submitted to the male protagonist's charisma, halo, and clung to him like nothing else. He couldn't even chase them away. Fortunately, they were all afraid of Shen Qingqiu. Every child was afraid of a teacher. So as soon as they saw him return, the flock scattered. He's just sitting there, moping, while these kids run around. Oh, it's so cute. Thus, Shen Qingqiu gracefully extended his fingers and moved to claim his usual pinch of Luo Bingke's cheeks. Then a series of bright, crisp voices called Shen Sheng, from behind him, and a few graceful figures, decked out in silver and gold, walked into the courtyard uninvited. Shen Qingqiu turned and saw the newcomers were a few of the town's regular, energetic, married ladies. No, what? The town's rather energetic, married ladies. God. He gave them a nod, but before he could offer a greeting, the one in the lead, the one in the lead strode up and caught his arm, whereupon she tried to drag him out and away. Shen Shangsheng, we've been looking for you all day. Come on, come with me quick. The girl's going to go mad waiting. What the fuck? No, what the fuck? Go where? Lu Bingke snapped. What girl? Shen Qingqiu was also confused. Hi, Hydra. Lady A, startled by Lu Bingke's dark expression, fanned herself and let out a sound of surprise. Such a little one, yet he's so scary when he talks. Whatever is the young master so angry about? Shen Shangsheng, is he mad at you? Lady B bustled over. Here, come over here, young master. Jia has some candy for you. Don't get in your daddy's way. Who's never mind. Lu Bingke ignored them and assumed a cold look. Did you make any plans today? I don't remember. They're so bad at this. Why are they still fucking up with this? You've been like this for so long. You're still tripping up over not calling each other Shizun and this master, and oh my god. So stupid. Wrong couple, daddy is Mo Shang's king. It's true. That's true. I'm sorry. It's just that they really would. Anyway, next. Lady A tutted at him. Shen Shangsheng, you know perfectly well, and you still ask. Do you have to make me say it clearly? Fine. I have a niece in my family, an excellent and respectable girl. I thought you two would be a good match, so we arranged a banquet in the Chengxi Pavilion to let you get to know each other. And the girl from my family, and my cousin too. These are different people saying these. It looked like everything happened fast in lively places. Shen Qingqiu hadn't been here very long, but all the residents of the city were already talking about how there was a new scholar in town. And not only was he well-read and highly talented, polite and soft-spoken, he also had a handsome and elegant appearance, and was very refreshing. Of course, all of this was superficial. The most important thing was that he had to be rich, stinking rich. He'd throw down the money for a respectable courtyard all at once. How could he have managed that if he wasn't rich? And he'd even come with a 4 or 5-year-old son. And what a pure and adorable child he was, already a handsome sprout at this age. He would certainly develop into an elegant and dignified gentleman in the future. How devastating! Anyone with an unmarried daughter of suitable age, or a newborn daughter without an arranged betrothal, would be raring to snag them. A match with either the elder or the younger, neither would be a bad deal. Lu Bingke's face was green with rage. He doesn't need matchmaking. His rightful partner wasn't dead yet. Lady C strolled over, swaying her hips. Little young master Shen, do you not want your dad to marry a new wife? Won't it be good to have a gentle, pretty new mom to take care of you? That's right, Lady B added. Shen Shangsheng, you can't spoil your son like this. I hear you even bring him with you to the academy, and he even sits on your lap. You don't have to take it from me, but if you pamper him this much, you won't raise him into a good man. My son, you see. At the sight of Lu Bingke on the verge of flattening this entire courtyard with a flick of his arm, Shen Qingqiu hurriedly picked him up and retreated. This Shen accepts all of your good intentions. I do not plan on, restringing my chin, as it were. I have no one at home and a young son to look after, so please forgive me for my inability to accept your invitation. What is Shen? I can never say this fucking word. What is Shen Shangsheng saying? Asked Lady A, who wore a large red peony pinned at her temple, as she spoke with a righteous vigor. Men and women ought to get married when they come of age, and you have such a large residence. How can it go without a lady to attend the house? By what logic ought a person of such character and elegant demeanor be all alone with a single child? Not only will you be uncomfortable, it won't look good. People will talk. Lady A waved her round fan, brooking no resistance. It's a date. Shen Shangsheng. I kind of did that right. You're coming with us right now. The little young master can stay home. Someone will come to keep him company. Lobinka sneered. Just who do you think is going to leave? Shen Qingzhou wasn't able to keep up with this savage charm for long. In consideration for the lives of his 3 eager matchmakers and everyone else in town, he flung out a few talismans to render them unconscious, abandoned the residence he had bought not even a month ago, and fled. I know that happens, but I didn't realize that happened so soon. He said, "No, I'm out of here." That was a scene break. We're now on page 292. The only place they could flee was back to Sangchong Mountain. Leading Lo Bingke by the hand, Shen Qingzhou started up the long mountain steps. The man sweeping the stairs did his work as diligently and earnestly as he always had during his 10-some years. As Shen Qingzhou strolled up, their eyes met, and he gave the man a faint smile. Shen Qingzhou was about to greet him when the man looked at him, then at Lo Bingke holding his hand, and his face twitched. All of a sudden, he tossed aside the broom that was as tall as he was, and sprinted up the steps like his rear end was on fire. In a flash, he was hundreds of steps away, and in addition to shock, Shen Qingzhou felt a sense of pride. That was Sangchong Mountain for you. Even the stair sweeper was a hidden master. The stairway was lengthy, and before they had gone halfway up, Lo Bingke began to yawn. He was low on strength at present, so it was unavoidable that he grew tired easily. Shen Qingzhou picked him up. Get some sleep. Getting a read on a disciple's heart was like finding a proverbial needle in a haystack. Sometimes Lo Binghe was willing to be picked up, but sometimes his entire face would go red, and he would struggle out of Shen Qingzhou's hold, preferring to walk himself. Now he was probably truly exhausted. He curled up in Shen Qingzhou's arms, shut his eyes for a while, and just like that, fell asleep. He's so eepy. That's okay. It's okay. Once he'd climbed the heaven-ascending stairs, Shen Qingzhou sensed strange gazes directed at him as soon as he stepped into the main plaza, and he heard a surge of whispering from all around. The stair-sweeper started down again, hugging his broom, and gave him an especially strange look on the way. Shen Qingzhou walked up to Qingjing Peak, holding Lo Bingke. At the doorway of the bamboo house, all his disciples rushed over in a frenzy. As soon as Ming Fan saw Lo Bingke curled up in Shen Qingzhou's arms, he looked as if he had been punched in the solar plexus or struck by lightning. While the others fought their way forward to look, he staggered back. Ning Ying shoved aside the people in front of her, stared at Lo Bingke, deep asleep in Shen Qingzhou's arms, and covered her mouth. He looks like Alo! He looks like Alo! Nonsense. If he didn't look like Lo Bingke, who else would he look like? Ning Ying grabbed Shen Qingzhou's sleeves in excitement. Shizun, does he have a name? Did you name him yet? Shen Qingzhou was perplexed. If he doesn't have a name... Oh wait, this is Ning Ying. If he doesn't have a name, Can I give him one? What the hell? Lo Bingke shifted restlessly in his arms and mumbled, loud. Shen Qingzhou raised his folding fan threateningly in midair, then jerked it back and made a shush gesture. Then the door of the bamboo house came crashing down. Lo Bingke jerked and opened his eyes, startled awake. Ning Ying always wanted a little shitty. This is his littlest. Oh, this is the little. Oh my god, I can't. She's so precious. I still give her that high-pitched voice even though she's like she's older than Binka. I don't know. It just suits her. Lu Qingge strode in like a flying meteor. Lu Qingge mentioned. Shen Qingqiu sent a death glare to the furtive-looking Ming Fan, shifted Luo Binke behind him, and gave Lu Qingge a fake smile. Lu Shidi, long time no see. What are you hiding for? Lu Qingge snapped. Hiding what? Shen Qingqiu replied. I'm not hiding. Luo Binke planted a hand on Shen Qingqiu's chest. There's no need to hide. I'm not afraid of him. Lu Qingge walked over and glared down at the challenge written all over Luo Binke's little face. After a long time, he managed to stammer out, as if he was forcibly suppressing some emotion. Q, when did you and Luo Binke... When did you and he... When did we? When did they what? What had they done? Lu Qingge seemed to find it Lu Qingge seemed to find it difficult to speak, so Ming Fan cried out in his place. When did you have a son with him? He's so big. Silence. Mpreg! This is why I tag my streams Mpreg. Oh wait, I can do this again. Wow, I can do this. Great Master Lu, airplane shooting towards the sky, didn't write a green Jinjiang Mpreg novel. Mpreg. After very impolitely blasting Great Master Lu off Qingjing Peak. Why am I struggling so much? After very impolitely blasting Great Master Lu off Qingjing Peak, Shen Qingqiu still felt like he was numb from a particularly electric shock. How can a man give birth to a child? Having been told the true sequence of events, Ning Yingying now knew that the child Shen Qingqiu had carried back wasn't his own baby. She was greatly disappointed, and she felt that her heart, full of passion and the 50-some names she'd come up with, had gone to waste. It was the stair sweeper Gugu who went around telling everyone, she said, pouting. We all assumed it was true. Who could have thought Alo could also suffer a chi deviation? She still calls him Alo. It's so... Oh, I love her. I fucking love her so much. Stair sweeper, how talented. Not only are you fast, your galaxy brain level delusions are also so unique. Shen Qingqiu will remember this. I'm speaking in third person. This disciple thought that when it came to the demon race, making a man give birth to a child wouldn't be outside the realm of possibility, Ming Fan said awkwardly. Everyone vigorously nodded. Shen Qingqiu suffered even further mental collapse as he attempted to argue for logic. Even if I did, a kid wouldn't have grown this big in a few short months. Who knows, Ming Fan said. We disciples thought that if it was that monster Luo Binke's child, it wouldn't be impossible for a kid to be that big when even they were born. Shen Qingqiu was speechless. That night, Qingjing Peak's long-abandoned mass book-copying punishments made a grand reappearance. It was a rare occasion that Shen Qingqiu managed to make time to return to Sangchong Mountain while the 12 Peak Lords were all in one place. Naturally, they had to get together for a meeting or a meal. It had been a long time since Shen Qingqiu had sat, doing his poser act, in the second chair of the rear hall of Chongding Hall. He missed the sensation. He nodded at and greeted the Peak Lords one by one, exchanging a series of, "It's been a long time," and, "I hope you've been wells," and "Same as yous." He snapped open a fan, face brimming with joy. He loves doing his stupid poser act. This guy loves cosplaying so much. Yue Qingyuan's expression seemed to be a bit strange when he saw Shen Qingqiu, but he didn't say anything much. He just sat down at the head seat, smiled at him, and then placed a stack of files on the table. Shang Qinghua scurried up to collect and distribute them to everyone else. Shen Jingzhou accepted the list from Shang Qinghua, but first gave him a cursory glance. There was no telling what Shang Qinghua had done to piss off Mo Beijun this time, but the corner of his lip was swelling as he gave Shen Jingzhou a pathetic smile. Yeah. What was he doing? What was he doing? He must have gotten into a fight. Uh-huh. Shen Jingzhou couldn't bear to look, so he shifted his gaze back to the file. The key points of discussion had already been marked in bold cinnabar red. With the first glance, the sip of tea he had just drunk spewed out of his mouth. And now this is all what he's reading. So first, aggressively restrict access to copies of Regret of Chunshan, Son of Bingqiu, etc. Forbid the distribution of any edition on any occasion, whether public or private. Set a 1-month deadline for copies to be turned over, after which anyone found to be in possession of or circulating copies will be severely punished. Punishment shall be increased by 1 level for illustrations. Why? Why? Second, because of numerous complaints, the relevant leadership of Baijian Peak shall tighten their supervision. Inter-peak brawls are strictly prohibited. Third, because of a small number of complaints, Qingjing Peak shall take note of the time when practicing the qin. Please avoid the noon break and night times. Fourth, Xianshu Peak requests permission to fortify and increase the height of their fences, and petitions for their fences to be electrified. Fifth, Kuqing Peak's numbers have dwindled over the years, and they request permission to increase their recruitment efforts. They petition for first rights to select new disciples the next time the mountain gates are opened. Sixth, the Peak Lords must increase attention to... The Peak Lords must increase attention to education on each peak. Sect members must not fight publicly within Huanhua Palace disciples while identified as Sanchang Mountain disciples. Seventh, if demons are encountered while carrying out missions, do not rashly attack. Make sure to ascertain their lineage and affiliated division before deciding whether to fight. Ye Qingyuan is gonna control what adults do with their own credit card. What the fuck is his problem? Spitting out one's tea in front of everyone was extremely improper behavior, but Shen Jingzhou didn't need to worry about this failure of etiquette, because after reading the first item on the agenda, most of the other Peak Lords also spat out their tea. Given his surroundings, he didn't stand out very much. The meeting room sank into an awkward confusion. Even if Shen Jingzhou fanned hard enough to raise the wind and waves, he failed to fan away the miasma. By what great merit had Regret of Chunshan come to be first on the list? And what the hell was this new one, Song of Bingqiu? I should have titled this stream Song of Bingqiu. Can I change the stream title right now? It's so good. Okay. It's logged in. No. After the meeting concluded, Shen Jingzhou began to sulkily head toward Qingjing Peak, but before he got very far, he realized quite a few of the Peak Lords were following him. Shidi and Shimei, I believe the way back to your peaks does not lie in this direction, Shen Jingzhou said amicably. That's because I wasn't going back to my peak in the first place, said Qi Qingqi. Shen Jingzhou had known this hurdle was coming, but he still made a valiant attempt to clear it. Why have you suddenly thought to come visit Qingjing Peak? My bamboo house is simple and crude. I'm afraid I cannot provide ample hospitality. What are you playing dumb for? I know your bamboo house is simple and crude. Who wants to visit you? I'm obviously going to see that darling disciple you've hidden away. Everyone in this crowd was eagerly plotting to gawk at Lo Binka like he was some rare curiosity. Helpless, Shen Qingqiu said, "He'll be angry." "You don't have to take it from me, Shen Shishang. Shen Shishang. Shishang. I have no idea. I'm guessing every time. But how does a disciple like him dare to be angry with his shizun? Do you not discipline him properly?" "That won't do. No matter what your relationship is now, you should keep up You should keep up discipline where it's due." Guys, I think they're past disciple and master now. I think they're kind of a disciple and they're a little bit past that. If they weren't, it would be a little. I mean, okay, they kind of. There's a sprinkle of it in, but like, that's only for flavor. Come on. So what if he's angry? What's there to be afraid of? Lo Binka's powers are less than a tenth of his usual. If we don't anger him now, when else can we? Because of his ascetic lifestyle, the Kuqing Peak Lord had a fiery temperament, and he was impatient after having failed to acquire the selection priority he wanted. Enough with this blathering. Are you just afraid we'll empty out your stock of tea? We're coming. Shen Qingqiu knew there was no escape, and his face darkened as he was dragged off toward Qingjing Peak. How do you guys know the situation so well? It's like you know it even better than me. He could maybe hold off one or two of them, but when several Peak Lords swarmed into the bamboo house all at once, there was nothing he could do to stop them. As soon as Qi walked in the door, she lost it and let out a chuckle. Lo Binka was lying on the bed, deep asleep and tucked in tight, looking just as he had when Shen Qingqiu left. Shen Qingqiu gestured as if to say, "He's asleep, don't disturb him." Lu Qingge sent a glance inside and couldn't resist remarking, "Why does he look different from yesterday?" Different? Shen Qingqiu turned, and sure enough, he was different. Lo Binka seemed to have aged 2 years, and now looked to be about 7 or 8. Funny you say that, Baffy. I also suck. I also suck. It's just that I want to do it so much, so I'll do it. Hi, Dre. Hi, Shady. Funny you say that. I was already reaching for my tea. Hey, keep it in your pants. What? Anyway. He's groaned. Who is Wei Qingwei? Guys, do we remember who Wei Qingwei was? I know they were like important. Didn't they have that whole monologue moment telling the backstory or something? I don't know. Admirable growth, Wei Qingwei said quietly. Qi Qingqi peered closely at him. At this rate, he's going to grow out of those clothes soon. Shen Qingqiu hadn't considered this issue. He pondered this, then realized that Lo Binka's clothes truly hadn't fit so well that morning, and a chunk of his wrist was showing. He's a growing boy. Sword Peak Lord? What does that mean? What does that mean? True indeed. I have been careless. I'll take him to buy a few more sets tomorrow. What do you mean buy? Qi Qingqi asked. Do you not know how to use what we have? Just go to Xianshu Peak and ask a few Zhezhe and Meimei to make some outfits for him. At this, a few of the Peak Lords rather ungenerously began to chuckle. The vision of a crowd of sweet-smelling immortal ladies surrounding an aggrieved demon cut-sleeve and chirping in their bird-like voices was enough to give these Peak Lords, who had nothing better to do, a good laugh. I'm not seeing anything. Seeing their glee at kicking Lo Binghe while he was down, Shen Qingqiu's heart began to hurt for the dregs of his disciple's dignity. Don't overdo it. Don't overdo it. Let's go and sit in the wait, who's saying this? Okay, this is. Let's go and sit in the drawing room. Don't stand around here staring at him. Stop laughing. Careful, you'll wake him. Guys, there's so much dialogue in this, and I can't tell who's speaking. I think it's just like rando speaking. He's the head of Wanjian, the peak with all the swords and blacksmithing. What was I gonna learn that? When did we learn that? Huh? What the fuck? You won't let us look at him before, and you won't let us look at him now either. Shen Shishong, you're such a killjoy. Give me some face. Alright, then Shen Shishong should come drink with us on Zi? Jian? Nope. No, wait, I'm doing this so wrong. Zi Xian Peak tonight. I still have to look after Lo Binghe. You used to hole yourself up here all the time, refusing to budge. Then you got dragged around all over the place. You're finally back for once, so forget the kid. Let's go together. You need time for yourself. You can't just orbit around your disciple all day. Shut the fuck up. Lo Binghe is in a very vulnerable state. He's disabled right now. You can't just. He's here. He's not here for a holiday, you fuckers. Oh my god, they're pissing me off so much right now. They're really pissing me off. After Shen Qingqiu finally managed to shoo away his sex siblings and returned to the bamboo house, he felt as if his head had swelled a full size. Lo Binghe was awake and sitting at his old desk. His legs weren't long enough to reach the ground and hung in midair, and next to him was a pile of documents even taller than he was. He held a brush dipped in red ink as he reviewed some lists and made notes. God, I love him. Shen Qingqiu looked at him for a while, then walked in. What are you doing? Sect. S-E-C-T. Oh my god. Lo Binghe looked up. Shizun hasn't been back in a long time, and there was no one to organize the books. This disciple wanted to make a new catalog and put them in storage. Just get some rest. You don't have to take care of these things. But Shizun wasn't here, and I had nothing else to do. I thought I might as well just do it. I don't know what to give his voice. Now that he's growing up, I've tried to change it slightly, but I don't know. Shen Qingqiu sat down next to him, thought for a moment, then asked, Are you so unhappy to be back at Qingjing Peak? Lo Binghe gave him a faint smile. What is Shizun saying? How can this disciple be unhappy? Shen Qingqiu slowly got up and went to head outside, but suddenly he couldn't move his feet. Lo Binghe jumped down from the table and grabbed onto his legs. You're right, he ground out through gritted teeth. This disciple is unhappy. There you go. If you're unhappy, just say so. From now on, if you have something to say, don't shut it up inside your heart and stifle your feelings. If you really don't like Qingjing Peak, we'll leave once you recover your original form. It's just that, in your current state, you're unsuited to constant travel. If anything happens, Sangchong Mountain can at least protect you. I do like it, but the Qingjing Peak I like is only Qingjing Peak. It's not Sangchong Mountain, and aside from Shizun and myself, it has no other people. He wants to go into seclusion with his Shizun. But, Shen Qingqiu thought, the Qingjing Peak you like has never really existed, has it? Lo Binghe mumbled. Shizun, is it true that being with me has made you lose a lot of opportunities to do things for yourself? Shen Qingqiu burst out laughing. You put on quite a good act of being asleep. Your ears are sharp too. How much of your martial aspect have you recovered? Shizun, the reason I didn't want to come back wasn't because I don't like this place. Rather, it's too easy for you to be stolen away here, he mumbled, depressed. If I were my actual self, I'd have some confidence that I could steal you back, no matter what I had to do. But as my current self, I really feel like I can't win against the others. Shen Qingqiu rapped the top of his head. Who asked you to win? You don't need to steal me. Shizun will go with you by himself. Shizun will go with you himself. He's still so insecure. That's like his main character trait, honestly. Guys, YouTube audience, am I blurry as fuck? I saw my stream preview. Looks like I'm super blurry. No wonder he was making a bamboo house in the demon realm, then he'd be the only disciple. Oh my god, you're right! I hate them. They're so gay. The appearance of one's conversation partner was truly of utmost importance. What? What does that even mean? Looks okay to me. Oh, okay. Might have been just me. What does that even mean? The appearance of one's conversation partner was truly of utmost importance. If this were the adult version of Luo Bingke, Shen Qingqiu would have said something so nauseatingly frank, even if you held a knife to his throat. But since this was the mini version who he could pick up in his arms, and who was also willing to cling to his legs and throw a tantrum to seek comfort, Shen Qingqiu was free of all psychological pressures. He would cling to his legs and throw a tantrum anyway. He doesn't have to be a child to do that. Luo Bingke lifted his face and gave him an adoring gaze. The flowers were in bloom and the moon was round, and at this fine hour, in this beautiful scene, a faint fragrance floated on the breeze which set a perfect mood. Anyone's heart would race. Luo Bingke's dewy eyes blazed brighter and brighter, and finally, unable to resist, he shoved Shen Qingqiu down on the bamboo couch and pounced. He sprawled out on Shen Qingqiu's chest, and the two of them stared at each other. You can continue. But even if they continued, he couldn't do any of the things he wanted to. Shen Qingqiu's expression was full of sympathy he couldn't manage to hide. After a while, a howl of unbearable rage escaped from Luo Bingke's still youthfully tender throat. They're so dumb. Guys, they're so stupid. That's the end of the chapter. Ugh, that's the end of the chapter. The next chapter is Regret of Chunshan and Song of Bingqiu. And I like this chapter a lot. And I think, wait, does this, oh, okay, guys, we're doing a full 180 with this one. But I want to read this whole chapter today, so, I'm gonna take a break. If you know, you know. I'm gonna make so many disclaimers in the next chapter. Okay, I'm gonna take a short break to, walk around and whatnot. But we'll be back. We'll be back real soon for maybe some exciting things. Maybe some exciting things happen in this next chapter. Okay, BRB. Alright, we're back. Hi. Again, how we doing? How we doing, chat? I'm stretching a little. I know I didn't even stretch when I was on that break. I just went to the bathroom. I went to the bathroom and ate a little bit more soup. Straight from the pot. It's yummy. I can't help myself. I love soup. And I love seaweed. And it's so nutritious. It's so simple, but so nutritious. Just because seaweed is awesome. Alright. Are we gonna do this? Are we gonna read a whole nother... How many pages is this? 305. A whole nother 16 pages? Yes. I think the answer is yes. Listen, this next chapter is exciting. I'll get through it fast. We'll do making some pastry crust and to try making empanadas for the first. Whoa! Oh my god, good luck. That sounds so fun. Alright. Page 305. Chapter 29. Regret of Chunshan and Song of Bing Cho. They even have ship names in this universe. I like how they put the I like, obviously it's Bing Cho and it's not like Ching. Well, it can't be Chinga because that's Lu Chinga, but you know, the top, how they put the top in the front of the ship name. Okay, anyway, let's read. Wait, calm down first. From his place nestled between Shen Qingqiu's legs, Luo Bingke shifted even farther forward. But this disciple saw something very interesting today. I'm afraid I won't be able to calm down for the next few days. Shizun, what should I do? After resting for over a month at Sangchong Mountain, Luo Bingke had finally recovered his original form. Shen Qingqiu knew this day wouldn't end peacefully, but he still said with composure, "That's easy. What did you see? Bring it here and show this master so we can discuss it together. But before that, get in a more natural position so we can talk properly." Luo Bingke nodded and ignored the last request entirely. Okay, then I'll let Shizun see. Slow and measured, he retrieved a thin little booklet from his lapels. The little booklet was illustrated in a flowery style, rather gaudy at first glance. Not to mention familiar. Shen Qingqiu was still pondering this familiarity when Luo Bingke flipped it open, straightened his back, and began to recite in a bright, clear voice. Once night fell, Luo Bingke lay on the bed, tossing and turning, unable to find slumber. He was used to passing out on the cold floor of the woodshed, and suddenly finding himself in a bed, he found it difficult to fall asleep, especially when the Shizun he so longed for it lay not far away, just on the other side of a single screen and a gauze canopy. The day's solicitous inquiries and attentive concern replayed before his eyes, fanning the fire in the pit of his stomach, hotter and hotter, higher and higher. It's interesting to narrate it from Luo Bingke's voice. Guess what time it is? Guess what time it is, guys? Guess what time it is? Bam! Yeah. I had it ready this time. Whoa! Look at them! Oh my god, they're so cute. Oh my god, they're too fucking cute. Ugh. What the fuck is their problem? Anyway. Shen Qingqiu was speechless. Luo Bingke continued reading with a straight face. Luo Bingke felt his way to the bed. Clothes rustled beneath his hands as he loosened the ties of Shen Qingqiu's inner robe, and when he reached beneath the layer of cloth, he found fine, smooth skin and strong, supple muscle. Dazed and spellbound, he tore the wrist sash in two. Shen Qingqiu cast a glance at the waist sash Luo Bingke had just ferociously torn open and tossed to the ground. Goosebumps rose all over his body. What was he supposed to say to this? Love how the race car noise happened for. Oh. I didn't even notice that. I kind of just block it out now. Where was I? Lord Binka lowered the booklet and looked up and said, in all seriousness, "It says here that this disciple lost his virginity the same night he moved out of the woodshed. In the flames of desire, lurid intentions bloomed. I snuck into the bamboo house's inner room in the middle of the night under cover of darkness, and while Shizun was in the grip of a nightmare, unable to move an inch, did such and so, amorous and tender, until the break of dawn." What the fuck? If I remember correctly, Lobinka was only 15 back then, utterly devoid of conscious, perverse lunacy. Lobinka continued as he flipped. Though the Lobinka in this novel is more audacious than this disciple and dares to act more boldly, his feelings for Shizun aren't far from the truth. If you really dared to act like that, this master couldn't guarantee he wouldn't take your life on the spot. Lobinka leaned down and kissed Shen Qingzhou's earlobe. Down? Down? Hang on. Lobinka leaned down. Guys, what position are we? MXTX, what are you talking about? What position? Guys. That doesn't make any sense. Warm breath spilled over the rim of his ear as he cajoled him. Shizun, weren't you the one who said we would explore together? At least give it a second glance. He didn't dare look. If that text burnt out his eyes, there was no way to get them replaced. Lobinka chuckled. You won't look? Then allow this disciple to read it for you. Voice expressive, he went on. After Shizun lost his chastity to Lobinka that night, he severely punished his rebellious disciple and intended to banish him from Sangchong Mountain Sect. But in the end, he couldn't bear to do it. He merely treated him coldly until the Immortal Alliance Conference was beset by sudden misfortune. Master and disciple were separated. Several years passed, and when they reunited, Shen Qingzhou finally fell into Lobinka's clutches. Look here, Shizun. The Huanhua Palace water prison chapter is really something else. Shen Qingzhou couldn't compete with Lobinka's stubbornness, and he truly was a bit curious, so in a momentary slip of control, he snuck a glance out of the corner of his eye. This single glance burned him to a perfect crisp. And now it is a passage from Regret of Chunshan. Hee 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 hee. Oh my god, guys, if you're under 18, leave now. I don't think I have the audience though, which is good. Regret of Chunshan, Part 37. Flirtation in the water prison. Shen Qingzhou shook his head, voice slurred as he spoke. Lobinka, you... let me go. Lobinka gripped the globes of his rear, kneaded them once, twice, then pulled them apart to expose the hole that had been ravaged countless times. Shizun, now you're crying for me to let you go, he said with a wicked laugh. Back then, did you ever think this day would come? My brain, if you're under 18, go back to the woodshed. Yes, exactly. If you're under 18, go back to the woodshed now. Oh my god. Shen Qingzhou sobbed and sobbed. It's too swollen. It won't fit. It was indeed very swollen, so much that the sight was nearly unbearable. The ring of reddened flesh was so swollen that it nearly glowed, and it was shut tight, looking as if it would be most difficult to penetrate. Lobinka felt some sympathy for him, but he soon remembered how Shen Qingzhou had abandoned him, and his hatred rose again. Cold and merciless, he plunged inside once more, but before he got even halfway, he found further progress difficult. For while the inflamed entrance was warmer and slicker than usual, it was also narrower and tighter. Tears rolled down Shen Qingqiu's face like raindrops on flower petals, his breath hitching in gasps as pain blossomed along with the sudden and forceful intrusion of that cock. But his hands were tied, and even as he twisted and struggled in vain, he was unable to escape. Nobody tell on me, okay? I'm watching you. Nobody fucking tell on me. Shen Qingqiu couldn't speak. Kyoji! Why did you read just now? I'm reading. Hi, Kyoji. Oh my god. Thanks for the raid. Guys, if there are any under 18s, leave to the woodshed right now. Go away. Leave now. You told chat ahead of time? Okay, you know, okay, good. So we're all ready, right? We're all ready for this. I just said the word cock with reverb. This is awesome. But hi Raiders, I'm Aries. I'm reading Danmei. Chinese BL. 18 plus, yes. The one chapter with porn. Oh man, alright. We're on page 309. Let's go. Shen Qingqiu couldn't speak. Holy shit, what the motherfuck is this? Who the fuck was this guy crying like raindrops on flower petals? And who was Mr. Tall, Dark, and Deadly? The one who cried the most every time they got in bed was Lil Binka, okay? Hi, Chocoberry Bunny. He looked at the author's name, Sleeping Willow Flower. The name alone made him sound like some sort of scoundrel. He had to be the same sort of person as airplane shooting towards the sky. Sure. And the doctor was a woman. The doctor was the mother. Guys, this is... Come on. After Lil Binka finished reading, he said, "As for this disciple, he never could have forced you like this. If Shizun merely furrowed his brow, this disciple wouldn't have been able to continue. How could I let Shizun sob like this, yet still not stop? The description here is a bit unrealistic." Not only was it unrealistic, it was OOC. Completely OOC. OOC all the way off the map. This fucking Regret of Chunshan, it was basically trashy RPF porn fan- What? Guys, what does that mean? But also, if you can't say it, then don't say it. It was basically trashy RPF porn fanfic that was OOC to the heavens, yet it had somehow become so popular. No wonder he always heard girls say, the trashier the work, the more easily it becomes a niche hit. Oh, real person. Oh, okay, cool. It's awesome. But that wasn't the main point. Shen Qingqiu cursed the author of this porn book and porn ballad to be unable to get it up for the rest of his life. Single dog. It'd serve him right to have to jerk it to the ends of his days, to jerk it until he died, forever unable to find a wife. I mean, I think she's already found one. And she's a lesbian! Guys, lesbians write the best gay porn. Just saying. Why is Shizun's face going all red and white? Asked Lil Binka. The latter parts are even more tempestuous and thrilling. They're worthy of both cheers and applause. In truth, I revered Shizun's body like a holy object in those 5 years, and never dared to sully it in the slightest. But this is just a little booklet circulating the streets. It can't hurt to read and laugh at such fantastical takes. Shen Qingqiu eyed the title of this part. Regret of Chunshan, Part 47. 5 years of empty waiting. For real, lesbians are the backbone of the MXTX fandom. I salute them. They're at the backbone of every fandom, I think. Okay, not every fandom. Every queer fandom. His balls were going to shatter all over the ground. I was not expecting to read that right. Okay. Okay. No. This title. He wouldn't even get near enough to pass the gates into this brave new world. It didn't need to be this kinky, did it? It does. But reality would prove that Shen Qingqiu had underestimated the depths the author of Regret of Chunshan was willing to plumb. The candlelight flickered, even if Shen Qingqiu was insensate. Insensate? I don't know how to pronounce that. His brows were dark and his lips were red. His entire person dyed with a flush of spring. Luo Bingke looped Shen Qingqiu's nerveless arms around his own neck before he went to kiss him, to make it look as if Shen Qingqiu had woken up and was hooking his arm around Luo Bingke's neck to return the kiss. The curtains hung to the floor, swaying without a breeze. Amidst a desperate entanglement, tousled clothes rustled to the ground. Luo Bingke's low, gasping breaths could be heard from behind the swaying gauze. Shen Qingqiu swayed lifelessly on top of Luo Bingke, locked within Luo Bingke's embrace by the firm grip of his arms, plural. The 2 pearls on his chest were sucked until they were swollen and scarlet red, like a pair of small, ripe fruits. His rear was covered with green and purple handprints. Good God, what the fuck? Oh God, there's more. The hole that had been fucked until it was a luscious red and still gently clasping. Guys, I don't like this. The half-hard cock within it, a mess of liquid shining between his thighs. I just have to get through it. I really just have to get through it and not stop, I think. It's so, like, this is porn. This is like Wattpad shit, okay? This is not good porn. Oh, man. How could I have forgotten how clowncore this is? So clowncore. All this porn is so... Oh man, it's just hard to get through because of the writing, not even just because of the porn. Oh God. Shen Qingqiu was going to cry. Me too, buddy. This wasn't even out of the question. This was practically a challenge to basic values and the limits of morality. And he'd heard MPreg novels were very popular on the green JJ. JJ? Heavens protect me. Please don't let Regret of Chunshan have a pregnancy arc too. Thank you. I don't know that. As the pages flipped by, he would yet be struck by lightning from the heavens. Regret of Chunshan, Part 55, Heavenly Demons, Nefarious Blood. Yo, this one's long. Okay. They were pressed chest to chest. Luo Bingke could feel the tender, supple skin of the person in his arms. It was moist and glowing as they soaked in the mountain spring. Without a word, he embraced Shen Qingqiu and leaned down to kiss him deeply, sometimes biting his lips and lightly tugging, sometimes plunging his tongue inside to brashly tangle with his. Are they fighting for dominance? Though Shen Qingqiu was unwilling, the heavenly demon's blood stirred within his stomach, and his entire body went weak. In addition, he was being kissed until he couldn't breathe, his chest rising up and down in uneven intervals, and his nipples brushed against Luo Bingke's muscles. As his nipples brushed against Luo Bingke's muscles, they slowly hardened. Without his notice, his legs had been pried open, and Luo Bingke plunged inside. Though they had been entangled from dusk till dawn for a while now, and Shen Qingqiu had grown used to Luo Bingke's enormous length, this sudden intrusion was still extremely uncomfortable, especially as, when that fleshy member speared open his inner walls, warm spring water poured in along with it, and his entrance drank more than a little bit of liquid. The legs hanging from both sides of Luo Bingke's waist squeezed him tight, and his insides fluttered as well. Luo Bingke was only thrilled at how that little hole squeezed and sucked him in. Roughly kneading Shen Qingqiu's bottom to make him relax, he adjusted his position. Not long afterward, Shen Qingqiu caught his breath and scolded him through tears. "Get out!" Luo Bingke smiled. "Shizlin chides me so, but his body seems to disagree." Shan Jingzhou clenched his teeth, unwilling to give in. If you hadn't fed me that poison blood, how could I be so tormented by an ingrate like you? Under the control of heavenly demon's blood, the only option left to him was to obediently spread his legs even further, relax his hole, and allow Luo Bingke to fuck him. His flesh seductively cradled Luo Bingke, lightly clinging to him. Shan Jingzhou's breaths came in gasps on the brink of sobs, and after a particularly hard thrust, his lips drew tight, low whines seeping out from his nose. Luo Bingke had one arm under his bottom, keeping their hips tightly interlocked, and his other hand blithely smacked Shan Jingzhou's round, snow-white cheeks once with every thrust. Shan Jingzhou was overcome with humiliation. Luo Bingke didn't let him rest for long after that round and carried him out of the spring. Once Shan Jingzhou left the water, his limbs and whole tightened, beset by the cold air. Luo Bingke set him down like a sacrifice on an altar, bare on a nearby chunk of limestone. There he drew him into a interlocked embrace. Guys, Anne. If there's a vowel after, it's Anne. This is pissing me off. There he drew him into an interlocked embrace below the open sky. The limestone was ice cold, and Shan Jingzhou began to squirm as soon as he was set down. His skin was fair and pale, and after that vigorous round of love-making and the warmth of the spring, his entire body was flushed a bewitching pink. Black eyes painted like stars swelled with dewy ripples as their focus blurred, tired and drowsy, his spirit like dying embers. He turned his head, refusing to look straight at his traitorous disciple, Luo Bingke. Luo Bingke slotted himself between his legs, slinging those pale calves over his shoulders, and sank his cock inside him, then began to thrust at an unhurried pace. Every inch of Shan Jingzhou's fleshy walls were stretched to the limit as they were scraped by that pillar. The creases at his entrance were stretched smooth. I hate that. I hated that. That was awful. That was really bad. I think Shan Jingzhou would be hilarious pregnant, but Bing Zhou should also not be parents, so MPreg jokes leave me feeling torn between delight and dread. Would they be? No, they wouldn't be very good parents, would they? They'd be awful. I think they're too obsessed with each other to have kids. Read it again? No! I'm not reading it again! You know what they'd be? Do you know that movie? Oh, what is that movie? I forget what it's called, but it's like, it's animated and it's like a movie about these kids whose parents, who they trick their parents to go on a holiday, quote unquote, but like it's like a death trap holiday, and they want them to die so that they can be adopted by better parents. They're like those parents. Give them 200 years, they'll have mellowed out enough to have a kid, maybe 200 years, no less. Anyway, we are on page 314. Shan Jingzhou had nothing to say. Drugging, non-con, force, what a marvelous buffet. This author was having a lot of fun, weren't they? Actually, I never imagined that heavenly demon's blood could be used in such a way, said Luo Bingke. Yeah, fucking right. You're a fucking liar. This bitch. Shan Jingzhou was silent. After bearing witness to the depths of the original proud immortal demon wave's depravity, it wasn't as if he had never thought of it. She thought of it. He just never expected that one day this usage would be applied to him. My eyes have been opened, said Shan Jingzhou. Luo Bingke nodded. My eyes have been opened. And he continued, so this disciple can't have had his eyes open for nothing, can he?
Lobinka, even though this master has allowed you to... I never allowed you all this variety, Shenjingqiu said in a warning tone. Lobinka started. Oh, this disciple understands. He looked a bit disappointed. But he didn't push the issue. Now Shenjingqiu was the one feeling uneasy. Lobinka had never made any request of him when it came to these matters. Because of his lackluster skill, he was always cautious to the extreme, and he even somewhat capitulated to Shenjingqiu. Now he had finally acquired some instructional materials, not manual, materials, and found a bit of self-confidence, hoping to try them out together, only for Shenjingqiu to toss a basin of cold water over his head. Sag. But Binka, you can't do that. It's not that you don't learn from these. It's fiction for a reason. I don't know, that movie is so good. I'm gonna actually remind me to look it up and find the name of it, because it's actually a really good movie. It's really stupid, but it's really good. It kind of gives box troll vibes. Shenjingqiu squirmed in his seat. After a while, he finally picked up his fan to cover his face and said with some reserve, "How do you want to do it?" All at once, Lobinghe came alive, like a flower blossoming in the warmth of spring. Shenjingqiu was inwardly pleased by this, and he told himself he might as well forsake his poor face and play along. They had already done it either way. What did he need face for? Just to be safe, he forced himself to pick up Regret of Chunshan and flip through it rapidly, even as a vein jumped in his forehead, but he didn't find any positions or techniques that seemed too illogical, and so relaxed a little bit. Only to turn around to see Lobinghe walking toward him, all smiles as he earnestly held up an even thicker booklet. "Shizun, why are you looking at that one?" Shenjingqiu had no words. The cover of the booklet Lobinghe was holding indicated it was the promising newcomer that held the honor of being a target of aggressive restriction alongside Regret of Chunshan, Song of Bingqiu. Its author was listed as the Three Holy Mothers. Who could that be? Who could they be? Who could it? I cannot possibly fathom it. This one has even more to teach, and is far more detailed, said Lobinghe. It doesn't take long to get the hang of putting it into practice either. This disciple brewed a jar of flower wine according to its instructions. Shall we see whether its effect is as described? Looks to me like it just has even lower depths to plumb. Shenjingqiu knew that under no circumstances was this jar of wine meant for drinking. Wait a minute. The props were all prepared. Had Lobinghe just been putting on a pitiful act to mess with him? Lobinghe pulled Shenjingqiu's hips up, leaving his rear pointed high as his back arched into a lumbar curve, his back toward Lobinghe. This was the condition Shenjingqiu had set for accepting his request. If Lobinghe insisted on trying something from the book, he would do it from behind, or else Shenjingqiu really wouldn't be able to hang on to his easily wounded dignity. Though Lobinghe was eternally obsessed with fucking Shizun face to face, he was impatient to put what he had learned into practice, and he had learned from this booklet that the person on the bottom could more easily feel pleasure if they did it from behind. So he happily agreed. He picked up that jar of rare fine wine, pressed its long skinny neck to the tight pink entrance on Shenjingqiu's lower half, and slowly pushed it in. Guys, disclaimer, do not fucking do this. Don't fucking do this, you'll die. They can do this because it's fiction and they're cultivators. Do not do this. Oh my god. The neck of the jar was tapered, so it entered easily, but the further in it was pushed, the tighter his hole clung to it. The chilly wine poured in, and his insides clenched at the sensation. Shen Qingqiu grabbed the blankets beneath him, brow knitting together. He could hear the gurgle of the wine as it poured into his intestines, and the swollen, drooping sensation of his abdomen was more and more obvious. Good lord. Shen Qingqiu couldn't help but say, "That's enough." Luo Binghe obediently stopped, but the mouth of the wine jar remained inserted inside him. This wine was refreshing at first blush, but its delayed effects were strong. Soon, Shen Qingqiu's insides began to burn fiery hot. Unable to relieve himself of this painful itching sensation, he shifted his arms to crawl forward slightly. This time, Luo Binghe didn't stop him. The mouth of the jar slid out of his entrance with a pop. Shen Qingqiu clenched before the wine could dribble out, and then he didn't know what to do. I heard this bypasses your liver, so at least that will be in good shape when you get alcohol. Yeah, at least your liver will be safe when you die from this. Letting wine pour out of his ass right in front of Luo Binghe would be far too humiliating, but he had only moved a bit, and he already couldn't take it. He was afraid his hold would slip with even the slightest movement. Luo Binghe draped himself over Shen Qingqiu, with one hand playing with his pointed, pale red nipples as he gawked on the smooth skin of his shoulder. Nope, that's not it. As he gnawed on the smooth skin of his shoulder. I can read. His other arm lifted Shen Qingqiu's sore, weakened hips and lined up his cock. The hot, hard tip poked threateningly against his rear until it found that small hole and rubbed it against it. Don't tell on me, guys. Guys, we're still not telling on me. It looks like you really did learn a lot from that damned little booklet. Shen Qingqiu couldn't take this teasing. His hands twisted in the sheets beneath him and sweat rose all over his body. As soon as his attention had wandered for a second, his clenched shut entrance was breached in one decisive thrust. Guys, you're not even okay. I'm just pretending that they prepped a little beforehand. That's my canon, okay? Shen Qingqiu immediately went limp from waist to legs. His arms also failed to support the weight of his upper body, and he sprawled over the bed. The only good thing was that, with Luo Binghe's considerable size, his entrance had been entirely plugged. The wine was sealed securely inside Shen Qingqiu, unable to leak out. It still hurt having his thing thrust inside him all at once, but amidst the pain, something seemed to be different. The wine lit his insides on fire, the feeling full and hot and wet. When Luo Binghe began to thrust, Shen Qingqiu couldn't stop the liquid from spilling out as his delicate flesh was pulled outward, dripping like flowing nectar. Awesome. What am I supposed to say to this, guys? Guys, what am I supposed to say to this shit? Am I keeping this picture up this whole time? I think I can. The wet sounds that came with each movement made his entire face flush with embarrassment. A tingling sensation alongside an ache spread from deep inside his lower belly. That spot inside him thirsted to be rammed roughly against, and to be fucked raw until it itched, but that flared head only brushed against that patch of tender flesh. I don't know if I can get through this, you guys. I'm gonna be honest, I'm so for real, I don't know if I can get through this. Oh, man. Shen Qingqiu's waist twisted in frustration, and he couldn't stop himself from pushing his hips back into the thrusts. Luo Binghe missed none of his tiny movements. He paused, panting for breath, then continued joyfully. Shizun, does it feel good? Am I doing well? He pistoned in and more of the faint red translucent wine leaked out from the point of their union. Liquid splashed between Shen Qingqiu's fair thighs. Fine wine and his disciple's cock surged inside him, raising waves. Shen Qingqiu's knuckles went white as he clung to the blankets, and he clenched his eyes shut in anguish. I just had a really, really, really fucking cursed thought.
if you put if this was a carbonated drink instead of wine, what would happen? I'm sorry. I'm just a curious guy. What can I say? Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. Okay, you know, I'm gonna keep reading. We're gonna get back to the porn. Where was I? He pistoned in and out, and more than Shenjingcho's knuckles went white as he clung to the blanket. Shenjingcho's knuckles went white as he clung to the blankets, and he clenched his eyes shut in anguish. Lobinka wouldn't give up. Does it feel good? Does it feel good, or doesn't it? Shenjingcho mumbled something. Lobinka couldn't make it out, so he leaned down to hear him, sending that thing between his legs even deeper inside. Shenjingcho's tailbone ached with the stretch. He gasped, Face! Face! The burn of the wine had made Shenjingcho red all over, as if his entire self had been steamed in liquor. Even his breath took on a refreshing flavor. Lobinka was tempted to lean in and kiss him at an angle, tongue searching inside his mouth, and found that even his saliva carried the heady fragrance of wine. Shizun, he said, do you want to see my face? Shenjingcho nodded near imperceptibly. You better be sure. It was Shizun's request that we were doing it from behind. If you want to be face to face now, I'm afraid it won't be so easy to turn back. His low, hoarse voice puffed warm breath into Shenjingcho's ear. Shenjingcho's head spun and he dazedly clenched his hole. Okay, cool. Love that. Lobinka abruptly pulled out and roughly flipped him over into the powerless position of lying face up. James Joyce would probably be on board for the carbonated version. Who is that? And I actually don't want to ask more questions. I actually don't want to ask more questions for that. Next. A pink flush clouded Shenjingcho's pale cheeks. His eyes and the tip of his nose were especially red, and some tears hung from the ends of his eyelashes. Lobinka kissed each of them one by one, the fingers of one hand tenderly circling the soft outer rim of his entrance, as the other slid under his back to support him. He said lightly, Shizun, look. He guided Shenjingcho's chin. As soon as Shenjingcho looked down, he saw the mess of wine and fluids at the base of his fair thighs. Between two plump mounds of flesh, a flower seemed to have bloomed, its ring of petals swollen a little larger, leaving some of the entrance out. Oh my god, I don't remember this. Leaving some of the entrance outturned as it twitched pitifully and dribbled white fluid. Guys, I don't remember this part. I was so distracted by the wine enema that I forgot about the partial prolapse. Holy shit. What the fuck? What the fuck? MXDX, what's your problem? Holy shit. Shenjingcho couldn't manage to speak, and he subconsciously lifted an arm to cover his eyes. Lobinka gave him a few comforting kisses on his cheek, then thrust in again. Again it burned like fire. Lobinka let go of his back, and Shenjingcho collapsed, black hair splayed everywhere across the bed, fingers powerlessly sinking into the taut muscles of Lobinka's back, his neck arched. After another round of vigorous thrusts, the wine in Shenjingcho's belly had more or less entirely leaked out. The passage that had been thoroughly washed with strong wine was in an excellent state, warm and flexible, sensitive and amorous, but guarded, yearning to squeeze and cling to the outside invader with all its strength. Yet afraid this thing would tear its thin walls. Wet sounds came from Shenjingcho's hole, and his legs locked tightly around Lobinka's waist, buttery smooth inner thighs rubbing against his skin, toes curled, a drunken look on his face. The fragrance of alcohol drifted through the air, going to their heads. Shenjingcho was truly
intoxicated. But before he sank so deep as to lose consciousness, Lobinka woke him up. He put an arm beneath Shen Qingzhou's hips and stood up from the bed. You are insatiable, my guy. Shen Qingzhou sank down under his own weight. I don't like saying this. I don't like reading this. The cock inside him instantly pushed through layers of flesh and hit a spot extremely deep inside him. Am I fine? I'm fine. His heart was nearly thrust right up into his throat, like what was piercing him in that instant was a honed sword, and he began to squirm desperately. But at that moment, he was entirely suspended in midair, and however much he twisted, he could only further embed that invading object into his hull, making this traitorous disciple's length furiously grow in girth, stretching him until he felt about to retch. But the scariest part was still to come. Lobinka began to walk. Do-dun, do-dun, do-do-do-do-do. This position sent Lobinka's cock extremely deep inside Shen Qingzhou. With every step, that thing didn't pull out, but rather vaguely jostled about inside him. The angle constantly changing, but always enjoying a massage from Shen Qingzhou's hole as it clenched and trembled. Why are there so many holes? I don't like reading that word so much. Entrance is fine. Entrance is better. Why? Why? Moreover, in addition to being fucked so deep he felt he was going to retch, Shen Qingzhou became afraid he would fall. He really couldn't take it anymore. He gasped out in fits and starts. Wait a minute. It's too deep. Binka, put me down. Lobinka nibbled on his earlobe and mumbled through slightly heavy breaths. Shizun, it's not deep enough. Still not enough. He had stuffed Shen Qingzhou's belly full. How deep do you want? Shen Qingzhou groaned. Where else are you trying to go? Having had his fill of fucking him while standing, Lobinka pressed him down on the table. Shen Qingzhou's upper body was shoved down against the top of the table, his arms twisted behind his back as his legs trailed weakly to the floor. The edge of the table fit into the crook of his pelvis spread wide open as Lobinka's hips crashed against his, the table shaking under their movements. Hole broke, ass chamber wall. Fucking hell. Shen Qingzhou's face was pressed to the table as that hardness moved in and out between his legs. He was already at his limit, trembling all the way from his hips to his toes, nearly unable to stand. But Lobinka was still holding those two pale mounds of flesh in his hands, pressing them together in the middle so he could experience the overwhelming pleasure of being squeezed by hole and ass all at once. I mean, yeah. Yeah, that's kind of... that. Yeah. I see you, MXTX, with your fucking... You really like asses, don't you? What's the bespoke version? What does that mean? Oh, like... it's... yeah. Globes. Shen Qingzhou felt more tormented than ever by the foreign object between his hips, not to mention how his bottom was being kneaded and slapped all the way... was being kneaded and slapped in a way that didn't hurt, but which was extremely humiliating. Not long afterward, Lobinka switched techniques again. He only pulled out a little bit each time, then thrust back in even harder as the flesh beneath his hands was squeezed out of shape with the force of his grip. Shen Qingzhou sprawled over the table, his center burning under this steady grind in a way that both hurt and itched. He felt on the verge of insanity, but was locked in place, unable to move an inch, forced to take everything Lobinka gave him. Lobinka truly deserved the title of star student. He could overwhelm someone simply by copying from the lesson materials. Shen Qingzhou wanted to weep, but couldn't find the tears, and he could only weakly whimper. You, what exactly did you read? He's such a good student. That's the end of the chapter. Happy porn. That's all, folks. That's, my god, that was all porn. I thought it was like half porn, but it was all porn. Holy moly. God damn. Wow. Wow. I forgot about it. That was awesome. I loved reading all of that. Guys, we're gonna agree that no one's gonna tell on me, right? Right? Right. I'm gonna put my book down. Book down. Okay. So yeah, that's the end of the chapter. The next chapter is chapter 30, called Honeymoon. Wow! What is this about? I don't remember this one. What is this one? What is this one? Why is it so long? Oh wait, no, it's not. That's the other one. Guys, we're almost at the end of the book. I think 2 more streams. And the last stream is gonna be short, but it's gonna be 1 chapter and it's gonna be short. Or 1 long stream. We'll see. I don't know. Guys, we're almost done. We're almost done. I'm so sad. But also, it's exciting because after this we can read the translated extras, right? Is it the Haunted Manor one? I don't remember. I don't know, but they're talking to someone. Oh wait, that's random questions. Wait. Oh, that one's so short. We might actually finish this in 1 stream next time. Maybe. I don't know. Guys, what is 374 minus 323? What is that? It's like 50 pages, right? Why every time? Every fucking time. I think maybe we can do it in 1. We'll see. We'll see how I'm feeling. If I feel like shit, then we won't. If I feel good, then we will. But yeah, that's all for today. I'm going to look up what that movie was about. What that movie is called. Animated movie where kids try to kill their parents. What is it called? Mine is AI. The Willoughbys. Guys, watch The Willoughbys. It's so funny. It's on Netflix. Watch it. It's such a good watch. I might want to watch it like tonight. I want to get high and then watch it again. It's so fucking good. It's so fucking good. All right. Yeah, thanks for hanging out. I'll see you later. God. Oh my god. But yeah, how are Thursdays? How are Thursdays for everyone? It's a little weird for me, but I think it's not that bad, actually. It's not that bad. I think it might be better this way. Possibly. We'll see. If I don't like it, I'll change it back, but I think it's okay. Right? Anyway, I'm gonna find someone to raid. Should be the same as anything else for me. Okay, cool. Chill. That's chill. I wanna find a specific. Whoa, what's happening? A specific. Whoa, guys, why am I doing this? Why is my Wi-Fi like this? Stop it. I don't. Okay, that's fine. Whatever. Is a certain someone streaming yet? Yes. Yes. Okay, guys, we're gonna raid Saudi. She's playing Skate. So have fun with that. Also, let her know what happened in this porn, okay? I think she'll enjoy that. Okay? Well, I'll see you later. I'm gonna start a raid. Yeah. Here's your message. I don't have a message. I don't have a message. Okay.
Oh wait, I have to do that. Okay. Okay. Arara. Okay, there. I still owe you another one, don't I? Arara. A little deeper for you. There you go. Guys, what should our raid message be? Wait, no, not that. No, not that. I think you should just spam this emote. I'm not gonna lie. I think you should just spam this emote. Just spam that, okay? Have fun with that. I'll see you later. Goodbye. Have a good rest of your day. Stay safe, mask up, all that shit. Chat? All that chat. Bye.